Welcome to the Steve Reeve Podcast with the best moments from the past week and a few things that didn't make it to air. Monday.
I've heard it said that the value of something sold at auction isn't necessarily what the value of the thing is. It's the value of the story that's attached to it, really and truly. Which is why there's a broken watch that is expected to net about $1 million at auction. Now, as soon as I tell you the story, suddenly it all clicks. Suddenly it all goes, oh, okay, yeah, broken watch, $1 million. I get it. It's because that watch broke when the Titanic sank. Yeah, already the picture's starting to get a little bit more filled in. Apparently the watch stopped at about 2:20 a.m. and has not moved, has not ticked since then on 1912, April 14th night, when that iceberg hit the ship on its way to New York City. The ship traveling, not the iceberg, or maybe both. But still, the couple that are associated with this very watch, it belonged to a man whose body was recovered soon after the incident itself, and who was all the belongings returned to the family, returned to the son, next of kin and all that stuff. But I guess the family themselves were represented in the James Cameron movie. Isidore and his wife Ida were represented by the old couple who are seen in bed, clinging to each other, holding hands as disaster strikes. And according to real-life accounts of the actual Titanic sinking, it's believed that they both refused places on lifeboats because she did not want to leave his side and he did not want to take the place of any women and children who might be able to have otherwise been saved. See, it's a whole story. That's kind of a crazy thing to have in somebody's collection.
It's time for Cruz Music News with Steve Reeve.
Glenn Powell, star of the recently released Running Man and host of Saturday Night Live over the past weekend, might just have a new gig from Fall Out Boy, as during the opening monologue on SNL, he talked about when he was much younger, he was making films of his own, indie style. In one particular one, he was lip-syncing to a Fall Out Boy song, and that prompted, of course, the band to respond on social media, asking, want to direct the next Fall Out Boy music video? ? Also makes us think, whoa, hang on, new Fall Out Boy music video? We'll wait with bated breath. Dave Mustaine wants Megadeth's last possible performance to be out of this world. I mean, literally, he wants it to happen in space. I don't know if I get the inspiration, but I do get just wanting to go out on your own terms and end with a big bang, right, with a blast. They announced plans to retire earlier this year with a new album and a tour to support it, and that'll be the end of that. Says there's so many musicians that have come to the end of their career, whether accidental or intentional. This was a social media post from Dave Mustaine. Says most of them don't get to go out on their own terms, and that's where I'm at in my life right now. The inspiration coming from when they sent a bunch of celebrities into space, and he thought, well, if them, why not me? Why not, I guess. And Brian May has been sharing that it wasn't just a stroke that he's been dealing with, but there have been more health concerns in recent years. However, asterisk, he says that he's doing quite well. He was on a show called Love Your Weekend, where the host, Alan, was asking him about his recent experiences. Says, we were concerned you had a stroke, but you seem to be fully recovered. And Brian May answering, I've had a number of things. The stroke was one of them. I've been lucky. I get these things, but I seem to be able to get out of them. They do give you a wake-up call, though. It's something that's a concern that will stay top of mind for him, his family, and everyone involved. That's it for your music news this morning. I'm Steve Reeve. Over the weekend, I did get a chance to go see one of the new movies that opened up, The Running Man. And I got a spoiler-free Steve review for you. This one directed by Edgar Wright, one of my favorite directors. He's done some really, really great ones in the past. And this one, very much kind of like a mainstream one for Edgar Wright. I think it's the most expensive movie that he's ever been at the helm for, and it's just a straight-up action movie. And with a little bit, I mean, just a real nice taste of the weirdness that Edgar Wright usually puts into his movies, the British sensibilities on comedy. But, of course, this is a remake of the 1987 movie, still based on the same novel by Stephen King, but, of course, the first one starred Arnold Schwarzenegger, came out way back in the year that I was born. Now, this one, near 40 years later, It's still the same story, really. A guy who's down on his luck and is desperate to help his child who's sick with the flu, and as well as his wife, just get everybody out of the squalor that they're living in. But of course, everything is run by the man, and the man is the TV network that has the show Running Man and puts him in the starring role. I mean, the rest is all the escapes, all of the action, all of the running of the Running Man, but there's more to it than that. And I really did like that it had layers that unveiled, that were revealed as the movie was going. But definitely a popcorn flick as well. Worth the price of admission. Big explosions and fun. And a great adaptation of not just the book, but I think a lot of the DNA of the movie from the 80s in there as well. Totally worth going to check out.
Tuesday.
A school elsewhere in the world, I think down in the States somewhere, has banned students from singing anything from K-pop Demon Hunters while on school premises. Something I'm sure that many teachers, parents can certainly see the appeal of. But it is foolhardy. It is to laugh. Because, I mean, honestly, the children will continue to sing, and in fact will sing all the more obnoxiously, knowing that they're not allowed, knowing that it is forbidden. They are forbade from doing so. Also, chill out. It's just some music, and the kids are liking it, and it won't be as popular forever. We've seen things come and go. How soon we forget the lessons learned from Baby Shark. Rolling Stones marking 50-year anniversary. Ronnie Wood marking that occasion with some paintings of his own, Paint It Black paintings specifically. He says, I'm proud of the journey we've been on, and it felt right to share these prints with the world. Right now, 4 paintings have now been shared as part of the collection, and of course will also be available with a run of limited edition prints signed by Mr. Wood himself, and featuring, the members of the band captured forever in acrylic and whatever materials he used. Cher, Ariana Grande, Lily Allen are now officially in the running, in the list on the schedule for the SNL episodes that round up the remainder of 2025. Cher set to be the musical guest for the first time in nearly 4 decades since she was last around there. Gary Newman in the news with sad news. In fact, he dedicated his entire tour to the memory of his brother. He said, the last 2 days have been the hardest of my life after losing his brother named John. He says that I have no idea what to do other than to continue doing the only thing I know how to do, the thing John was always so proud of. That's it for your music news this morning. I'm Steve Reeve.
You're listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruz FM.
For maximum coziness this fall, the internet is pushing the potato bed trend. The potato bed, so named for the shape of the finished product as well as the ease with which you can become a couch potato in bed as a result of making one. You gotta say, sounds pretty good. It's pretty simple, pretty enticing. Lay a fitted sheet down upside down. Line the rim with pillows, lay a blanket over everything, squish it all into comfortable shape, add whatever comfort you need to it, and then cover yourself with another blanket. Dogs and cats love it, naturally. It's just, maximum cozy. But I can't knock how comfy it all sounds. I can, however, judge the effort involved. Because, I'm from the 80s, all right? I know a half-assed pillow fort when I see one. Go the full mile. Well, when you were thinking about just doing things as normal this morning when it came to getting to work and getting things done, you could not. Dream On was the answer. Seems like, though, that now the Cloudflare outage is largely over with. I don't think it's completely done, for sure. Most, though not all, websites and apps affected are seeming to come back, at least in some level, possibly with spotty service for a while. So, I'm just here to tell you, everybody can stop panicking now.
Oh, my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Wait.
Everybody calm down!
Wednesday.
Speaking of dreams, particularly ones held by my partner, raccoons might just be closer to becoming pets. But according to an internet meme that same partner quotes to me all the time, they've got the devil's mischief in them. I don't know how much of a good idea that is. Domesticate them, sure. They're still going to be messing around with literally everything that they can see in your home. They are, for lack of a better word, rascals. Every single one of them. Raccoon rascals. I also read years ago now that foxes were only so many generations away from domestication, and take it with a grain of salt, but how long is a fox generation? We've got to be close, right? We got to be narrowing down on that fateful date, pretty much guaranteeing that my life will be spent not with a crazy cat lady, but with a crazy woodland critters of all kinds lady.
There's no such thing as a chaperone king.
Well, there wasn't a raccoon king in our alley until I went out there and picked my favorite one. His name's Little King Trashmouth.
Wheatus and Bowling for Soup coming together again, re-recording the iconic Sonic anthem, an updated version of Endless Possibility, with help from Punk Rock Factory as well. This was released in 2008. It was literally to do with Sonic the Hedgehog, and basically restoring peace to the world after Dr. Robotnik doing some blah 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 blah. But they sold a ton of copies of that game back in the day. The song Endless Possibility was the theme song for the game, and now a new version of it has arrived. Not that anybody's asked for it, but not that we're complaining about it either. That's available to listen to online. Ace Frehley, R.I.P., the late Kiss rocker, has now got a guitar, a smoking guitar that was used in his final Kiss tour, headed to auction. The custom guitar was extensively used while doing the tour between 1999 and 2001, and it will be arriving at auction very, very soon. Gotta Have Rock and Roll's official website is going to be putting it on auction literally later on today. Of course, going for way more money than any of us have. And there's an online exhibition from Nick Cave. Stranger Than Kindness is what it's called. A virtual art exhibition from the frontman of the Bad Seeds. Dynamic, interactive experience. I'm not sure if there's a cost involved, if it is paywalled, or if you can just go ahead and stroll through virtually, but it is opening as of today. And that's it for your music news this morning. I'm Steve Reeve. I did some on-foot holiday shopping yesterday. Can't do it all online. Don't do it. Keep some money here in the community. Do a little local shopping. But it is just amazing how quickly the cost does build up wherever you're spending your money to get those gifts. I used to just shoot from the hip. Makes me stressed out just to think about it. Buy whatever for Christmas gifts and then figure out life afterwards in January. A very come what may attitude. But that's a young man's game. I've since moved beyond rounding up the receipts and calculating the Christmas costs after the fact. I'm now tracking every dollar that is being spent as it happens, as I go. Keep it on top of things. But, it helps keep the costs from ballooning somewhat, but it does also introduce a very strong, well, they better like it feeling as you're buying the gift, because you're like, whoa, now I realize the impact of the cost of this. They better like it. It's an expectation, and that's not really the reason for giving a gift, but it does make me understand my dad better.
Transmission over. Want more Steve? New podcast episodes happen every Friday, or just tune into the Steve Reeve Show. Weekday mornings starting at 5:30 a.m. on 100.5 Cruz FM.